Zach, did you come up with, like, a voiceover for this?
No, I did not.
No, did I. Welcome to the show. This is called Pull or Pass.
He's Mark.
And Zach.
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
Maybe next week?
Maybe. Welcome to Pull or Pass, your weekly geeky comic book radio show. I'm Mark and I'm alongside Zach. Hello, Zach.
Hey, Mark, how you doing?
I'm alright, but as soon as I played the music, I was like, oh, we didn't come up with something cool for the... Anyway.
No, we did not. We've even seen each other and talked since.
We have, and we haven't done it. But welcome to the show anyway. We've got all your usual comic book reviews and news. Zach, have you got any news?
I've got a couple of things. Yeah, you got some stuff?
I've got some bits. I mean, I've been to see Joker and I've binged Swamp Thing, but have you got any like news that isn't me getting all excited over cool DC stuff?
I've got a couple of things. So
me getting excited over cool DC stuff?
Okay.
It's like, it is a alternative universe. Have you seen Joker?
No, I was going to go see it today, and
you should go see it.
That's still true. It's just not in time for the show.
I mean, I think this film has been a phenomenon as much as the amount it's been talked about by everyone, not just comic book fans.
Yeah.
And it's all over the internet. And I think I was one of the people who didn't like Fight Club and got accused of not liking Fight Club because I wanted to be cool. And I think there is an element of... That wasn't true. I just didn't think much of Fight Club. But I think there's some people who were like saying Joker's bad just to get a reaction. It's not perfect. It isn't.
I mean, what is these days?
Well, no. I mean, I think the talk about it being an Oscar-level performance is true. But the fact that Joaquin Phoenix is so good kind of detracts from anybody else in the film. It's so focused on him that it's you forget that there are other characters in the film sometimes. But I don't care. I just thought it was brilliant.
Fair play. I'll give you my feedback next week.
Yeah, I'm not going to do any spoilers or anything. But there are some serious memes going on at the moment. Like I saw one about Jack Nicholson's Joker and Joaquin Phoenix's Joker, and one says that the 80s Joker needed to fall into a vat of ooze to become the Joker, and the Joaquin Phoenix Joker just needed to be in society to become the Joker.
I mean, fair.
Also,
did you just mention memes? Are you the Fraser of this series?
Who's Fraser?
It's a good question.
He's dead to me. He's not. I love him really, but no, I'm aware of memes. I just don't particularly like them unless they're directly focused on what I like.
In this case, Joker.
Yeah, I thought it was brilliant. I thought it was an exceptional film. Had there been a weak lead actor, perhaps it might not have been that good. But it is a 5-star performance by Joaquin Phoenix, and there's talk of like people are saying, get rid of the DCU and make this the start of a new DCU. It's not happening. I don't think he's going to be interested in doing another film.
No. But
I don't think he's going to want to at all. That's not really the kind of actor he is.
We've had good DCU films. We've had Wonder Woman and Shazam and apparently Aquaman, which I've still not seen.
It's all right.
Yeah, I'm not upset with the DCU, and I'm not happy with it, but...
Yeah, it's getting better, isn't it?
It's getting better all the time.
Have you watched any Swamp Thing?
I've watched episode 1 of Swamp Thing.
Have you?
I don't know why you've got more free time than me. But
I don't have more free time than you. I just probably sleep less.
Okay, yeah, that could be it. I like what I've seen. I feel like it's doing... You know how Constantine kind of went, here's a hint at Dr. Fate, and here's Faust, and here's... So this, first episode mentions Xanadu. Yeah. And I know there's in the credits there's talk of Blue Devil and stuff like that. So I'm like, yeah, it's all the things I quite like from DC Comics. like all the supernatural weirder
Yeah.
stuff. So I feel like I'm going to enjoy the rest of it as well.
I've not really read much Swamp Thing other than the Alan Moore run, and I know they're kind of not. They're actually having that Alec, what's his face, is the
Swamp
Swamp Thing rather than
his consciousness.
Yeah.
is stapled together. The Swamp Thing.
But which is okay. But I do really like the Alan Moore run. But I found this really gripping. It's a little bit Monster of the Week when you get into it, which is
Okay.
fine. Nothing wrong with the Buffy-style Monster of the Week with the ongoing plot. I quite like that.
For a lot of seasons, a lot of shows, we see that kind of as a first season. Unfortunately, we don't know if there's going to be any
I
second
don't think
season.
there's going to be a
but
second season.
Maybe this is it. We're going to get 10 episodes of Swamp Thing, 10 episodes of Constantine, 10 episodes of some other supernatural thing, and eventually we'll get a Justice League Dark for 10 episodes.
Ooh.
That's the only thing I can assume. If you're going to cancel everything, you got to give something to the people who did watch it.
They
right?
have. And I mean, I think it's completely unfair to have cancelled it before they've released it internationally. It seems like...
It's not really giving it a chance.
Yeah, it really did seem like it's not giving it a chance. And I don't know, is DC Online or whatever it's called. What's it called? DC Universe? Whatever it is.
Yeah.
DC streaming service.
Yeah,
Is
whatever
it in
that is.
trouble because they can't keep hold of their good shows?
Maybe. It would be nice if we could have it in England, because I feel like there's a lot of DC Comics fans here.
Yeah, I'd
and
buy it. I mean, I'm
you don't even
always...
like DC.
But you see, I like dark DC. I've always liked dark DC. I just find their superheroes a bit twee.
You just like Vertigo. We all know that.
I do. But this is great. It's body horror. It's nasty, nasty stuff. It's clearly an adult show about an adult comic book, and it's...
Fair.
I'm really enjoying it.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm like I said, one episode in. I'm going to try and do everything by next week so we can really dig into Swamp Thing.
We can do, but like, I don't really want to do spoilers, so... It's well good.
Proper
It's
well
well
done.
mucky. I enjoyed it. Give it a watch. There you go.
It's pretty solid.
Have you got any news that isn't me gushing about DC? This is not the natural way of things.
I got a couple of things. So we got announcements from New York Comic Con.
Yes.
So we found out that Donny Cates and Nick Klein have taken over Thor in January.
Yeah, the pictures look cool as well. All kind of like wispy. Was how I described it.
I'll go with that. Kind of the getting a new costume, which is all kind of very kind of Donna Troy-esque with the kind of stars embedded into the black.
Yeah.
He's got the hammer back. Big into that. I mean, he's had hammers for the last few months, but it looks like this is the hammer. So.
The hammer.
But Donny Cates done some good cosmic stuff that you haven't enjoyed because you're wrong. So I like to think this could be good. His Venom has kind of touched on bits of Jason Aaron's Thor run, and he's been using other characters that have crossed over. So I feel like he's got a good-ish understanding of the Thor universe. So
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. It's Donny Cates, and Donny Cates is good, all right?
Yeah. I mean, seems like the perfect book to put on Polo Pass in future.
Does, doesn't it?
Doesn't it?
But it seems excessive to plan January already.
Well, we can like go when it arrives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Other than that, I've got other words.
Other words.
Other words. So, other creative team thing, we found out Quantum and Woody is going to be Chris Hastings and Ryan Brown.
I know you like your Quantum and Woody.
And so do you.
I do. Just not as much as you.
Fair. So Chris Hastings is the guy who was writing Unbelievable Deadpool for Marvel, which was good, funny. And Ryan Brown is the artist for Curse Words at the moment. So,
No,
yeah.
Curse Words. Is it good?
I've only read the first trade, but yeah, it's good. You'd like it. So I think they're a good team for a comedy series.
Yeah. Sounds like.
Especially with Valiant kind of putting Quantum and Woody off in their own little corner and going, whatever you want, just do things with those guys. And other than that, I've got the Gideon Falls TV show, which is being adapted at the moment, has got a production team, which is
Okay.
James Wan and the people from Hive Mind, which incidentally is co-owned by Dinesh Shamdasani, who is the former CEO of Valiant.
Oh, okay.
Which I assume is so Jeff Lemire, Gideon Falls,
Yeah.
did some Valiant stuff. But Hive Mind are doing the Bloodshot movie as well, which comes out next year, incidentally.
That does sound good.
And I'm sure I read somewhere the other day that they've been making The Expanse for Netflix, Amazon show, which is really good too. And apparently James Wan did Aquaman as well.
Yeah,
so.
I knew that. I actually knew that. I'm
Actually
rubbish
knew
at
some
remembering
information.
names, and I recognise the name James Wan.
So, yeah, pretty... I mean, I'm already looking forward to a Gideon Falls TV show, and I think
should be fun.
all sounds positive. So, cool.
Got a couple of other bits. The Avengers game, the big video game where it's a bit like the plot of Endgame, it seemed like when I saw the first trailer.
Yes, yeah.
Has Kamala Khan in it. Apparently she's like a main plot point of the game, and that looks quite cool. There's a trailer online which looks fun.
Yeah, it does look cool.
Yeah, and I was surprised because, you know, she's quite new and she's, well, maybe not a risk because she's super popular, but she's an interesting choice.
Yeah.
And I like that.
She's
I
not
like
a
that lot.
classic Marvel character, she's more...
Yeah.
She's a modern classic.
Yes, absolutely.
But seriously, what's going on? You know about memes, you're excited about video games.
Hey, I play video games. Sort of. Right, and the other bit of news I've got is that apparently, to celebrate Marvel's 80th anniversary, they're putting random comics on buses and trams in Britain.
Which is cool.
Which is very cool.
It's very cool.
Apparently it's only happening in Glasgow, London, Brighton, Cardiff, and the best city in Britain, Manchester. Not that we're biased. But yeah, in those cities, keep an eye out for like free comics left on trams and trains and buses and other things that I don't use.
But just make sure they're free and you're not just stealing someone else's comics. But...
Well, yeah. But they're putting like some classic comics, like, you know, the first appearance of Wolverine, the Spider-Man origin story and stuff like that. So, yeah, free comics
cool.
on trams. It's a good thing.
Yeah, that's really cool. Gonna have to take more public transport now, which I never thought would be a sentence I said.
You came here on the tram. Did you see any comics?
No.
Oh.
Early morning commuters, they don't like things being in the way.
No, that's probably true. Probably true.
But commuters on the way home after this, whew,
Maybe.
we'll find out.
Maybe they are loading that tram with comic books just for you right here, right now. That'd be well good.
Gonna have to go like the full tram route just to check. Wait for it.
Update us next week, see if you've got any free comics.
Will do.
Should we get on with the main kind of push or pull of the show?
I think we should, but Mark, what is a pull?
Well, it's funny you should say that. A pull is a casual subscription service at your local comic book store. If you bring a comic book to the counter, issue one perhaps, they might say, do you want to add this to your pull? What they mean is, do you want us to keep a copy of this back for you so that you don't need to worry about coming in every Wednesday when new comics come out and making sure you get the comics you want? They basically have a load of comic books behind the back of the counter with your name and a bag, and they keep your comics for you, and you can collect them every week, every couple of weeks, once a week on payday. But you don't have to, like, have a direct debit or anything like that. It's kind of a casual subscription service. Zach, where do you have your pull?
Wow. What do you know? It's a Travelling Man.
Isn't that bizarre? They sponsor our show.
They do.
They do. In all seriousness, Travelling Man are brilliant. They are your local comic book store in Newcastle, Leeds, York and Manchester. And if you do want a pull, or you do feel like a pull is something that you would like, then get yourself a Travelling Man, because they're brilliant. And at the moment, they've got a 3-for-2 deal on Boom graphic novels.
This is true.
Yeah.
And there's some really good Boom books.
There are some really good Boom books, some stuff well worth having. But thank you to Travelling Man. They are the sponsor of Pull or Pass. Should we talk about some comics?
Yeah, let's do it.
We've chosen RWBY by DC, RWBY 1 by DC, Spawn 301 by Image, and Doctor Doom 1 by Marvel. Should we talk... Zach, pick a comic.
Let's go Spawn.
Okay, Spawn. Now, Spawn 301, I'll be honest, on my previous show, where we did a similar thing to this, I read Spawn 300 and put it on my pull. So this is kind of like a check whether or not I did the right thing, rather than a truly speculative thing. And 300 was a massive pull for me. It had some really interesting stuff. unforgettable image of Spawn, which you got again at the start of 301. And it was in colour, which was new for me because I hadn't read Spawn for a while. The news reports were still there, which were brilliant. And who the hell is she, Spawn? I don't know where she came from, but cool. And so this was kind of like a have I made the right decision kind of thing for me. But, Zach, what did you think?
I had really mixed feelings about this. I thought the starting pages, so chapter 1, as it was described, was interesting. I mean, I had no idea what was going on, but...
Like, I think had you read 300, 300 was a good starting point. I'm not so sure 301 was.
Yeah, I feel the only Spawn I've read was the very, very start of Spawn I tried to read, but we're talking a long time ago.
Yeah.
And I don't remember any of it. So, pretty in deep here with, I don't remember anything about Spawn. So yeah, a bit of a weird starting point. I can see that 300 probably was better if you decided you wanted more of this.
I can lend you 300 if you want to see what the hell's going on.
For some context, go back to the last month. And, pretty nuts all around. It felt like a big start. The start felt like an end.
Which it kind of was.
Yeah. So I think everything after that was like, I feel like I missed like 300 issues of this.
Do you know?
Maybe who knows? Maybe I have. So yeah, a bit lost at times, but I don't know that much about Spawn. How did you find it? Do you know about Spawn?
I know some about Spawn. I read the first 50 or so issues, then kind of disappeared, and then read 300. I thought the art in this was pretty outstanding.
Yeah, some really good artists.
And I like the different chapters being done by different artists. I wouldn't have done if even one of them was no good.
Yeah.
But they were all great.
It's so what have we got? We've got Jason, Sean Alexander, Todd McFarlane, obviously. Greg Capullo, Clayton Crane, who does the kind of weird, sleek, futuristic-looking one, who's the Brotherhood bit. Jeremy Opina, or Jerome Opina. Can't read my own writing. That says a lot. Them's the artists.
Them's the artists. Well, they were
the
all
ones I've written
brilliant.
down, at least.
They went a bit crazy with the full-page spreads, I thought. And I'm a fan of the full-page spread.
And there's a chance I'm going to have to crucify you this week, so let's find out how you felt about the 2 double-page, just black title cards.
In my notes, I've drawn an angry face.
Good.
I've drawn an angry face. I put full-page logo, @ angry face, and then quite deep, I dug into the page with twice. So yeah, that's excessive, and
I got the first one until I break it up, but then when there was like a 2-page credits, like 2 pages later,
and I definitely called out Marvel for doing this last week with Ghost Rider, and it sucks.
Maybe this is just a thing now. You're going to buy a first issue or a 300 on first issue, and
it just sucks. I don't like it. It's a waste. And they could have had something more pretty than a logo. Not that the logo isn't cool, it's
a completely fine logo.
I've seen it on the front cover already.
All right.
Yeah, that made me cross. Okay. I agree, that made me cross.
Good.
I did like the political statement about people not being ready for the truth. That was really dark and really topical and really quite bleak.
I thought some of the politics about him... encouraging people to question what the media is telling them and things like that were all interesting and quite on point. I mean, wrapped in a whole bunch of stuff I didn't know anything about, obviously.
Yeah,
but...
the news report thing was back, which I love, with the 3 different networks and the 3 different perspectives on it. I think that's just very Spawn and very, very clever. I really, really like that. And I like how the whole thing was... separate stories, but they were all interconnected. That was very cool. And yeah, the story at the end, Brotherhood, was just so grim, just so hard, a difficult read because it was so bleak.
Yeah, it was a weird one because I don't know anything about Greg, obviously. Not read any Spawn.
No.
Or very little Spawn, so it was kind of a, hey, you seem dead.
Yeah, I mean, did it stand alone as a story to you then?
I mean, I was interested,
Yeah.
and then it was over.
Yeah.
Similar thing to when we discussed 2000 AD. Some of the chapters were quite brief, so it was like, and it's gone, so let's not worry about it right now.
No.
But yeah, and Clayton Crane was the artist, like I said, and I like his art. It's kind of weirdly weird.
Weirdly weird.
It's like sleek and
Yeah.
it feels very done in Photoshop. I don't know if it is or not. It seems
Might
very
be.
digital, but maybe it isn't.
And then the final thing I want to talk about is the picture on the back, which was just so lovely. There was a picture of him with his daughter when they released Spawn 1, and she was a baby, and a picture of him and his daughter now, and she's qualified as a doctor.
Yeah, which was
In the length
nice.
in the length of Spawn, his daughter has gone from not being able to say a word to being one of the most intelligent people on the planet. I mean, that's so brilliant.
On the flip side of that, so this is the record-breaking 301st Spawn.
Right.
And the record is described as, my God, there's a lot of words. It's the record-breaking, longest-running creator-owned comic.
Right.
I don't trust that.
Why not?
No. Because I think this feels like one of those instances where American comics are doing what American comics do and going, we're the best, no one else releases comics. And it kind of gets in my mind thinking, what about European comics where people have been doing stuff since the 60s? Or Japan, or manga where people have been doing things for God knows how long?
Yeah, and I think it probably does have the caveat in America.
Yeah, it just felt like one of the... They talk a lot about the record, and I'm like... I don't know. There's not that much information. If you search longest running comics, you obviously get, hey, have you heard of Superman?
Yeah, and there's a lot of stuff where they will find a way
to make it sound...
To make a statistic that is so obscure that it was always going to be that. Very briefly touching on American TV shows... The WWE Raw calls itself the longest running weekly episodic TV show. Yeah, but it's not the longest running TV show, is it? That's probably Coronation Street.
Yeah, probably.
So they had to they've had to find a way to phrase it to make theirs the most
anything.
The most anything.
As soon as you've gone weekly episodic, so we're only on once a week.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's only from what, 1990?
Yeah, it's
whatever. So
it's they found a statistic to suit them, and it's still impressive that it's a 300 landmark.
Nothing away from that. It just seems like the record breaking is like, I don't know if I believe you.
It's very American to find a statistic that suits you when you want to make something sound good. But they don't need to, because this is good. So why do you need to do that? Will you get that many? Are Americans that shallow that they'll buy a comic because it's the longest running creator-owned blah, blah, blah? Or are they going to buy a comic because it's Spawn and it's good? I have no idea.
Either or, I guess. Maybe. We know any landmark image issue sells ridiculously well anyway, because what if it's worth something one day? Got to get all the covers, haven't you?
I've never, ever bothered with that. And
but some people do.
Yeah, good for them. And collectors collecting is cool. I've got more tattoos than any human being should have, so I can't judge collectors.
Collector's going to collect.
Exactly. It's just not a type of collection I'm interested in. I just want to read the stories.
Fair. I can dig that.
Yeah.
So, anything else for Spawn? Or...
No, I was just going to ask you if it's a pull or a pass.
For me, it's a pass.
It is sad.
I think it would have helped if I'd have read 300. I'd have probably been more clued up and invested in Spawn. I feel like because I was coming in with less information.
Yeah.
Not this time. But maybe I'll read 300. Maybe you'll let me lend it me.
I'll lend you 300. But for me, it's a confirmation of pull. I really enjoyed it, and I'm glad I enjoyed it because it kind of emphasises that I'm at least consistent.
I feel like this is more for your own conscience than anything else.
Oh, yeah, but no. I enjoyed it. I'm glad I enjoyed it, and it's going to stay on my pull list. Woohoo.
Cool.
Should we talk about RWBY?
Yes, this is our second RWBY in a row, I realised.
Huh?
We did RWBY Falls last week.
Well, yeah, RWBY spelled RWBI, and this did kind of expose me last week when I called it RWBI, because I'd clearly never heard of it.
RWBY, man, come on.
Oh, whatever, I don't care.
Do that is good.
It was awful.
don't know if I'd go that far.
I really disliked it.
So the notes I made about this was, so RWBY is obviously, it was a Rooster Teeth animated series, and then they did a manga a couple of years ago, and this, so the first half of this is telling you that.
Yeah.
So it's like 12 pages of explaining what's come beforehand. So I feel like I haven't seen RWBY. I was going to try and fit some in before I got here. Didn't do it.
I'd made a point of not, because I wanted to go into it with a, can I read this as someone who has literally mispronounced the name because he'd not heard of it that bad.
And that's what I did with Spawn.
Well, there you go.
Like, I won't look up anything about Spawn. I'll just go in blind and we'll see.
And I think that's a valid way of looking at it, because you need to think about how welcoming these comics are, particularly if it's an issue 1. Someone picks up the front cover because it looks cool, and then it's really intimidating. They ain't going to pick up number 2.
It's a weird one, because obviously there is an existing universe, and I wasn't sure if this was going to be a continuation or just a comic book retelling, I guess. I've got friends who are really into RWBY, so I feel like for them, this would probably be everything they ever wanted.
Okay.
But, yeah,
It was just odd, and I didn't really anything it. I just read it, and by the end of it, I was like, that happened.
Yeah, I can see that.
That's a horrible way. I think that's possibly even crueler than saying it was bad, because at least there's some emotion in saying that it was bad.
I
wonder if knowing the lore of RWBY would help. And from what you're saying,
I definitely think it would have helped us. Artwork-wise, so it was Mirka Andolfo. That's the pronunciation I'm running with.
Meerkat Andolfo?
Mirka.
Okay.
I thought the art was good, and I thought it suited it. Obviously,
I thought it was super cute.
Following up on an animated series, which was kind of anime-esque, and then manga series.
Yeah, I like the art. I definitely like the art. It was cute. It was very manga.
Yeah, and so I thought the art was nice. It's written by Marguerite Bennett, who has done many different things for DC. Seems a lot of times they've got a new series starting, it seems to be like, let's put Marguerite Bennett on it and see what happens for a while.
Oh, okay.
She did Batwoman when it started up.
So she must have done good things then, if they trusted to do that.
Yeah, she did. So she started out with Rebirth. She started out doing Rebirth, Batwoman. She did other such books I have read. Bombshells, DC Bombshells. She seems to be DC's go-to for some kind of... I don't even know which kind of series I'm trying to... For some series, Marguerite Bennett is where DC go.
Okay. Thanks, Zach. Do you find it weird if you've got something that's kind of manga and reading it left to right instead of right to left? Because that immediately wigged me and I didn't like it.
It is a weird one, and I guess... So there's some mangas I've read... So All You Need Is Kill, which they made the show, the film of, which was Edge of Tomorrow, Tom Cruise, Live, Die, Repeat, all that.
Right.
So that was a novel made into a manga, and then for the American audience, they converted it into a comic book. Even though it's like, but the manga's perfect. You don't need to redo this.
Right.
And I feel a similar way.
That's not a huge surprise.
No, but I feel a similar way to this. Like, is this trying to reach another audience, even though the manga is aimed at an American audience, and I'm pretty sure Rooster Teeth are based in Texas, so even though everything looks very anime Japanese, it's all been made by Americans. So it's almost weird that they've done a manga and then gone, the comic reads, good old Western style, so we can say it's Americans better and the English, maybe? I don't know. It's
people got to make money, and if it makes money for people who are creative, good. It just, I don't know, nothing worked in this for me. Reading left to right I didn't like. I didn't mind it being comic book size.
No.
I'd have preferred it to have been manga size, because it's manga. It's clearly manga artwork.
Yeah.
But nothing worked on this. The pictures were pretty, but I just got to the end of the book and I was like, that happened.
Well, what I thought about this mostly was, so we get half an issue of catch up, essentially.
Yeah.
Half an issue kind of telling us the origin of RWBY's mother, Summer Rose, obviously classic, great name.
Yeah.
And it just felt like there wasn't that much substance, so we kind of got a look at what has happened and a brief glimpse of what's going to happen. But I kind of felt like, how some Image issue 1s are kind of double-sized and you get 50 pages. I felt if we'd got 12 pages of catching us up, and then, like, I don't know, 30 pages of, and this is issue 1.
Yes.
I would have been way more invested in RWBY.
Yeah, I think that would probably have worked.
I feel like that would have really helped win both of us over, probably.
Maybe.
Giving us a fuller look into what's coming in RWBY rather than what's been. Also, the last line really bugged me. This was just, I don't know if this is just me.
Go on.
So the last line is the kind of, do you think we'll ever be as good as Summer Rose? And the uncle they're talking to is like, no, but one day I wouldn't be surprised. It's like, I feel like you've edited words out of this, because I feel like it should be like, I wouldn't be surprised if you were better, or...
It feels like it's badly translated from Japanese.
Even though it's not, which is weird.
Yeah.
It just read like, that's not... That seems almost insulting, like, no, one day I wouldn't be surprised. Surprised about what, man? Come on, tell me, I need...
Yeah.
But that was just something that bugged me.
No, it didn't bug me, but now you've mentioned it, I'm like, if I'd have cared about the book, I might have been bothered by that.
I can see that, fair.
I try not to be as negative about a book as I have been about RWBY. And like I say, I didn't hate it, but I kind of wanted the 10 or 15 minutes back because I didn't anything it. I didn't feel anything towards it.
This is one where I feel like we're not the target audience. I feel like if we'd seen the show, if we'd read the manga, we'd probably be all over this.
Brutally, we put it on because it was the only DC #1, or there was nothing by DC
#1 that wasn't largely tied into something else going on.
Yeah, there was nothing on DC that we could put on other than this, and we missed DC last week, so I felt like we had to have
sooner or later
some
we're going
DC.
to have to read some DC.
Well, I've given DC some love with Joker and Swamp Thing, and now back to type.
I mean, this is a weird one because it isn't DC Universe. It's very...
No.
I don't know if we're going to get a Rooster Teeth universe or what,
Maybe.
but we'll see.
You've got... Well, I was going to say you've got Conan, but Conan's kind of in the Marvel Universe now, isn't he?
We're even getting Conan 2099.
Oh, mate, that is going on pull or pass. Can't wait. But that's a bad example. Let me think of a better one. Star Wars.
Yeah,
obviously
which is just happening at Marvel, and...
Yeah. Obviously, I don't want to see Captain America versus
Darth
Boba
Vader.
Fett.
See, isn't it weird that my immediate thought was, but who would Captain America fight from Star Wars?
Don't. They're going to do it.
I will gladly read that. That it sounds awful, and that
so will I, but I'll feel dirty.
Also, surely Spider-Man, Boba Fett, jetpack, webs, come on.
Anyway, so going back to this, so it could become like similar to Star Wars is like a Marvel comic, but it's not in the Marvel universe. If it's popular,
yeah,
and I mean, I don't see why it would be personally, but if it's a big deal to other people, there's no reason why it couldn't expand and become like, well, another kind of string to the DC bow. But it's a pass for me. Surprise, surprise.
So this is a kind of... It's a pass for me as well, but with the caveat that I would quite like to go and watch RWBY and know more.
Fair enough.
So, I don't know, maybe this is I'll go watch some RWBY and be like, actually, no, the comic was really cool. But we'll find out. Maybe I'll do that before next week.
Maybe.
Who knows?
You need to watch Swamp Thing as well.
Yeah, this week's getting very short in my head.
Yeah, you've got a lot of work to do.
2 full TV shows to watch so we can talk. And I've got to go see Joker.
2 full TV shows? What's the other one?
RWBY, Swamp Thing.
Okay,
Joker.
I'm not going to watch RWBY.
What if it's great?
You can tell me if it's great, and I still probably won't watch it.
Trying to trust my friends' opinions here, that maybe my friends are right about things.
I tend to trust my friends' opinions. Sometimes. But I don't have any friends who like RWBY, so I have no desire to watch it.
Fair. Okay. Yeah.
Right.
So, there we go.
Shall we talk about Doctor Doom?
Let's talk about Doctor Doom.
Doctor Doom. I loved the front cover.
It's a good front cover.
Just look at this comic. It's about Doctor Doom. It's just his face.
Or lack thereof.
Well, yeah. It's just his face. I loved the cover. I thought it was superb. And what did you think once you got past the lovely cover?
I actually quite liked this one. It's just quite good, isn't it?
Yeah, I'd only
you're
go
welcome,
with
I'm gonna
quite good. I didn't think it was exceptional.
It's interesting. I quite like when we see Doctor Doom as not that bad a guy. So
Yeah.
we're opening a black hole on the moon to deal with to deal with climate change somehow, science, I guess. And Doctor Doom basically spends the entire thing going, "This is obviously a mistake. Come on, guys, you're opening a black hole." And everyone thinks, he's just being a villain because it's a Tony Stark, Reed Richards idea.
Yeah.
But I kind of like Doom being like, just saying, you guys are wrong.
He's an intelligent man who doesn't want his planet to be destroyed.
Be sucked into a black hole.
Yeah, I mean, what I found, the first few pages, that he was mocked. And that gave me a real sense of dread that then didn't pay off.
Yeah.
I was expecting Doom to come down like a ton of bricks on the people that had mocked him. And he didn't.
I mean, he did abduct one of the news hosts.
True.
Which everybody knows that's how you deal with your problems. Someone insults you, you abduct them and take you to your own private country.
Latveria. A Latvia, not Cross, one of the most evil men in the Marvel universe, is clearly living in Latvia. I mean, it's not very imaginative.
Though, or is he just misunderstood?
Right, something like Wakanda. There is no African country that sounds anything like Wakanda, whereas Latveria and Latvia, that's pretty bloody close. Poor Latvia.
Yeah. Yeah, okay.
I'd be very cross if I was Latvian. I think I'd be cross.
Or, this is a huge sign of respect, except for the fact that they're probably calling your leader a psychotic dictator with a metal face.
That's because he is a psychotic dictator with a metal face. Not the president of Latvia. I don't know who that is, but Doctor Doom is definitely that.
But we kind of see we're closer to good guy Doom. I don't know if you read any of the Invincible Iron Man from a couple of years ago, where he kind of takes over from Tony Stark and he's good guy Doom.
I didn't read that, but I did read President Doom, which is very old now. And it's about, basically, Doctor Doom brainwashes the world. And it kind of becomes like a utopia, and everything's perfect. I'll tell you how old it is. Margaret Thatcher was Prime Minister of Britain in the meeting of the United Nations. That's how old it is.
Okay,
but,
that's pretty old.
But it's kind of like he's a benevolent dictator, and the world is better when he's in charge. But obviously, he's brainwashed everybody.
Yeah. I read almost the opposite of that a couple of days ago. So I read there's a Squirrel Girl volume where, because of reasons, obviously, Doctor Doom goes back to the 1960s.
Right.
And basically finds out there how he would take over the world. He gets a glimpse of Wikipedia from the future where Doom's already taken over. And he's like, oh, so this is what I do to just take over the planet.
Brilliant.
So in the 60s, he takes over, and we get a glimpse of now, and it's just Doom bots and everything's metal. And there's just Doom flags everywhere, and Doom's everything.
Doom.
And he's renamed everything, so it's like Doomopedia. And
brilliant.
Brooklyn's like, Doomlin, and everything has put Doom in front of it. And all through it, it's like him being like, yeah, it's my programming language. Every bit of code is a variation on the word Doom.
Good.
So it's kind of the flip side where everything is terrible because Doom's out of his mind in the 60s. So I've had a lot of Doom in the last few days.
Nothing wrong with that.
A lot of Doom.
What do you think of the art? I thought it was really good and really bad.
So it's Salvador LaRocca, which it's one of my favourite names. I think,
is a good
in
name.
Comics. Who I've read loads of stuff by, and I can never remember what. I think he's done some other Marvel stuff the last few months. I quite like his art, but there are times when it's it's quite realistic art, kind of.
I liked his Doom art, but I didn't really like his people face art.
Yeah, I can see that. He's good, but odd, I guess, at times. I thought it suited this, though. It was a bit weird for a bit of a weird book, maybe.
Yeah, I think that's probably fair. Union Jack.
Yeah, right.
What?
I've made
Union Jack. Why?
I've made a note here that is just Kang the Conqueror and Union Jack.
Was it really just to make the Brexit stage left joke?
If it was,
Union Jack in there. I mean,
I've made a note of that as well as far as puns go.
Yeah.
Solid.
Yeah.
I don't know how well it's going to age. I guess
Union
the political
Jack?
climate will judge that, but...
I mean, I marked out for Union Jack, and then I was like, he's actually a bit naff, isn't he?
He's not great, but I kind of like him in the... If you can't get Captain Britain.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Call Union Jack. Maybe he'll help out.
I found this book odd.
Yeah, I can relate.
I think I about 65% liked it and 35%
It's really weird.
I don't know what the other 1% is.
Good question. The writing I thought it was well written, and obviously what we got, Christopher Cantwell clearly has ideas for Doom. I quite like seeing Doom as a leader. I mean, fantastic.
Yeah.
So we had Invincible Iron Man, which I liked, and we saw in oh my god, what was it called? The Marvel 2-in-1. So
right, yeah.
Human Torch, and oh my god, is he called the Human Torch? That sounds so wrong in my head.
The Human Torch, the guy from the
right.
Fantastic Four.
Human Torch and Thing. Sorry, that just sounded wrong. So Torch and Thing, they hang out. Johnny and Ben, you know it is.
Yeah.
And Doom kind of comes along for the ride. And in that, he was really good. But what threw me was when Dan Slott started Fantastic Four. So we're talking 6 months ago now, I guess, maybe a year. Suddenly, Doom's like, I'm going back to Latveria, and I am a villainous dictator again because that's what the Marvel Universe needs. It's like,
it's what we all need.
But he's cool when he's a good guy. You get stuff in Marvel 2-in-1 where he meets all the alternate versions of Doom and things like that, which are like, I'm into this. This is interesting. But I don't know. I kind of like when we see Doom as not just a bad guy. When we've got a little bit more of who he really is.
Yeah, and I think it's important that he's not just a 2D bad guy, because he is better
which
than that.
He kind of was in the early days, and now.
Yeah, and I like that they've expanded that for sure.
Yeah, I agree. I'm curious as to where this is going to go. So it kind of ends with Doom in chains, and he's surrendered, but it looks like he's attacked the moon.
Because you can.
Of course, you
do.
Get your own country. You've decided to make robot replicas of yourself. Do what you want at that point. To go back to Kang.
Right. Oh, yeah. Kang was in it.
I just like him. He's just... Every time Kang rocks up in something, I'm like...
Kang.
Tell me, Kang, what do you need? I'm here for you. So he kind of... I don't know, pops in as this kind of... What's going on? Looks like it's no later than the end of the 21st century.
Yeah.
Doing what up?
I did like that.
And we're kind of seeing... I guess an alternate universe for Doom where he's got a family and kids and everything's perky and happy. So there's kind of a lot going on in
there is
not many pages. So I'm curious about what that means.
So Zach, is it a pull or a pass for you for Doctor Doom?
This one's a pull because I'm kind of curious about so many things, and they might not pan out, and it might be just Chris Cantwell throwing everything at.
Well, I know it got you interested.
It did get me interested. How about you, Mark?
It's a close one, but unfortunately it is a pass on Doctor Doom. I didn't like it quite enough. I thought it was great, and I might read yours or read the trade, but it's not one that I'm going to put on my pull list. I'm being relatively conservative with a small c about what I'm pulling at the moment, because my pull list is massive. But it doesn't mean I didn't like it.
Okay.
So next week, Zach, what are we going to read?
X-Men.
We're going to read X-Men 1, which is by Marvel. We're going to read Metal Man 1, which is by DC. And we're going to read The Marked 1, which is by Image. Which one are you most excited about, X-Men?
I actually I'm coming in with a bit of a weird feeling about X-Men. I quite liked Matthew Rosenberg's run. I've had mixed feelings about Hickman's House of X and Powers of X, which everyone but me seems
ambitious.
To love.
It's definitely ambitious.
I guess for me, Rosenberg's run, so Age of X-Man, stuff like that, felt like an X-Men story. It felt like it was aimed at X-Men fans. Powers and House of X have felt very, we want new X-Men fans. The old ones, we don't care. and I know a lot of people love it, and a lot of existing X-Men fans love it, but kind of putting everyone back in their old costumes. Why is Toad dressed like he's a jester from a Shakespeare play and stuff like that? And
because reasons.
It feels like a lot of let's make everyone look the way they did in the animated series and appeal to the animated series audience, which is me. I just happen to have read a lot of X-Men along the way.
I think for me, I'm looking forward to the March the most, which is absolutely no surprise because it's an Image title that looks quite dark and grim and interesting.
But I am also curious about Metal Man.
Yeah, that's the one I'm curious about, yeah.
We'll see.
We should have a good show next week.
Aye.
And we're also going to have a competition on next week's show. I'm saying it now so that we make sure we do it because we kind of run out of time to do it on this week's show. So we haven't had time to do that. And I'm also going to try and do a grown-up proper voiceover with all of our listen again information when I play the theme next. But if I giggle, we'll have to do it again next week. So this is me live trying to do the end credits properly like an adult. So thank you very much for listening to Pull or Pass. We've pulled, we've passed. We'll do it all again next week. We'll see you next time on Pull or Pass.
Bye.
That's the wrong theme.
That is the wrong